Show, a lifestyle podcast where Vegas locals get together to chat, featuring my Lebanese Armenian mom, who's my sidekick, Seza, right next to me. Thanks, Mom, for being here again.
You're welcome.
Today, we're actually diving into the world of boxing. I tend to typically lean towards the arts, but there's something about boxing that has intrigued me recently, and I'm really, really happy and thrilled to be introducing to you some special guests, two actually. The first one is a boxer and an influencer, and his name is Albert Ochoa. And the second person who's here with me is Albert's coach, and he is very humble, but I'm going to say this. He's the Sports Illustrated Trainer of the Year, and his name is Bob Santos. Thank you, both of you, for being here today.
Well, thank you.
Great to be here.
Yeah.
So I told you guys before the show, so we'll just, let everyone know. I really don't know that much about boxing. I'm learning about it. I watched a lot of videos before this episode. That's actually what I love about podcasting. I get to learn new things. One of the things that I learned is that there's a boxing IQ, and it's really more mental than anything, which was fascinating to me. But if I'm wrong, please do let me know.
No. You know what's interesting is a lot of fighters like to play chess. And like we were talking a little bit off air, you were talking about the arts. Boxing is in itself an art form, with the athletes and what they do and how they prepare themselves and the technique and everything that goes into it. It's almost like the ballet in a sense.
Like, is it the footwork? Is it?
Of course, the footwork and the ballet and the way you dance and the way you move and the way you got to be on the balls of your feet and your toes. Now, obviously, the objective is to score points on your opponent and land punches. Obviously, it's a little different than the ballet. But if you were to just take that out of it and you just looked at being on the balls of your feet, the movement, the elegance of it, it's an art form in and of itself, and it is a lot like the ballet.
I like that, the elegance of it. So Albert, you are his coach. What would you say his strengths are in the elegance of boxing?
What would I say his strengths are, or what would he say his strengths are? Right? he would probably say that he's great looking, and that would be his strength. I don't know.
I've never said.
I don't know, but you know what I mean. But obviously, his work ethic, his determination. He has a good athletic background, and played a lot of sports in high school and things of that nature. So. My son is actually the one that discovered him. I believe my son right now is J Santos, the youngest manager in boxing, that discovered him and said, "Hey, Dad, you got to take a look at this kid. I think he can do something." And I says, "Well, kind of what's his background?" I says, "Well, and then obviously he brought him to the gym. We've seen him, and we've seen some of the things that he's been able to do and accomplish, and the work ethic that he's put in. And so I'm thankful to my son Jay there that he brought him to my attention, and we think sky's the limit for this guy."
Good. Well, we have Jay here too, so we're going to talk to him in a little bit as well. So boxing, why boxing? I have a lot of questions for you.
You can ask me anything.
I'll start with boxing.
Yeah.
I'll leave the elephant in the room for later. We'll just talk about boxing.
Oh, no, for sure. I think boxing opened up a few years ago. 2 years ago, because I'm only 2 years into this sport.
Yeah.
And then now to sign with, Bob Santos and his family, Sports Illustrated Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year. I mean, it's a big deal. And I'm just very blessed to be here. Then, moved to Las Vegas. And, it was a great opportunity. I felt like I could really, put my mind to something and be successful at it. So the sport, everything's clicking. And it keeps clicking. And, we're winning and we're doing a lot of big things. And a lot of people are following my journey. So, as long as I just keep working hard, listen to, the main guys aside of me, I should be okay.
Yeah.
So
one thing I noticed about you that's so interesting, you're very mature for your age. Bob, would you agree with that?
I almost call him a mini me. You know
really?
what I mean? Yeah, we're similar in a lot of aspects. Very disciplined. Don't drink. Don't smoke. Live a very disciplined life, and so he definitely is wise beyond his years, and that kind of took me aback too, because a lot of fighters. One of the big problems, in anything with athletes or actors and things of that nature, And once you come into a lot of money and you're young, it can create a lot of problems. But we haven't seen any indication with that with him.
Yeah, that's why I brought that up, because when we had talked on the phone, you said, I could be at the club, I could be doing this. And then I saw some interviews of you talking about your future children and grandchildren and your legacy. And I'm like, where do you get that from? Like, who is influencing you? Because there has to be something that has brought you to that direction,
I just think it comes from, as a kid, I grew up with on my mom's side, it was just me, my mom, my sister. My family was divorced, and, I had a lot of time to develop mentally, a lot of alone time, even in school. A lot of people would say I was popular or anything. I hate that word. But, I didn't need to be around 100 people to feel important. I've learned that at a young age. I think I was 16. Everyone wants to be around people. Even past, 30, 40, 50 people, like years old, they still need to be around people. For me, I don't really need to be around a lot of people to know I'm important, and I say that very humbly. And, just kept clicking, and, I just put my mind to something, and nothing's going to stop me to getting what I want.
Who's your influence, like from a childhood? Can you think of someone that you look up to?
Who I looked up to, if we were talking about athlete-wise, I was a big fan of Tim Tebow. I still am, He worked very hard, was very dedicated with God, his family, accomplished a lot in sports. So I think him and, but I was a basketball player all my life. So I don't know. I just always wanted to be different. I always felt like I was different from a kid. Literally third grade, I was like that. I was like, I can't relate to nobody. I really couldn't. And I don't know. It just was there.
Very grounded. Yeah. And I am going to bring up the fact that you are very different because Kylie Jenner went to your prom. First of all, do you guys know that we're Armenian? Yeah. I don't know if you know that, but we're Lebanese Armenian. Okay. And the Kardashians are Armenian. My entire life. And I know a lot of Armenian women that feel this way. Whenever you say I'm Armenian, you hear, like Kim Kardashian. Yeah. That's my entire life. Like so I'm really curious about that. You said that you were already popular. That must have
popular in a way. A lot of people didn't like me. That's why I would say that. But a lot of people did know me because I played every sport. And, I don't know. But from there, obviously the Kylie Jenner thing, that went nationwide. Yeah. And then a lot more people knew me. So...
how did that even happen, though? How did that?
Believe it or not, they reached out to me. My mom set it up. They were on FaceTime. They were always talking. And then from there, when I asked Kylie herself, why did you choose me? She was like, well, you were different and you were special. Kind of like me. We were both outsiders. We didn't really get along with a lot of people. Yeah. And we had a different vision, a different goal. So
that's awesome.
That's from what she said and her team. And now we're here.
Yeah, that's so cool. And that obviously it helped you get some notoriety and, pursuing your passion. And it is nice to have a following. It is nice to have fans and people, kind of cheering you on and seeing what you're doing. I'm curious, if everyone is supporting you, like your family, your friends. And I know you have your big supporter right here on your side, no matter what, which I find very endearing. I can see the relationship is, it's evident when you guys even walked in the room. So, but yeah, I'm curious, are other people supporting you the way that?
Well, if we're talking about from high school, from that, I gained a lot of fake love, a lot of hate, a lot of people, just still picking on me, saying you're this or you're changing and a whole bunch of stuff like that. But it's I never changed. I'm still the same me, if that happened to me or not. I'm still very humble. I act the same. I don't, I'm not out doing, obnoxious or annoying things, obnoxious things. And I've never changed. So for me to still be here, it's just very blessing. And when you go back to, has that helped me with notoriety? It has. But I think for me, from that point to now is my hard work, my determination on things. Even in me joining this sport, nothing has been given to me in this sport. The trainers I've worked with, from the fights I've been, everything from the sponsorships to the training and who I want to, work with, it's always been me. It's always been hey, I need your help. I seen you're successful in the sport. Can you pass down some advice? Everything has been. Yeah. So
that is actually brings me to the next thing I want to talk about, the mastering of, anything that you want to be successful at, you have to actually master it. And that's what I find fascinating, even with boxing, is, even in the arts, like singing, ballet, whatever it is, you have to actually master it. Yeah. I'm kind of curious, how you train him to be a master at this. I know he's still new. It's only been a couple of years, but what's your process? I learned a little bit by doing some homework that you can film yourself and watch those videos, and then also that that there is a hindrance to this, but apparently it might be good to watch your opponent, but that you can actually you can fail at that as well, because they might have like different moves after. So I'm curious like what your thoughts are about that and what your techniques are.
Well, you can appreciate this, you and your mom, like getting back to the fact, and I'll use this analogy with the arts and things of that nature, right? You know, everybody has a different take on what great art is, or who's, you know, Picasso or who the artist is. And they have a different way about getting there. Not everybody gets there the same, because every individual is different. You want to have the basic fundamentals and build off of that, right? So it's very important to have the basic fundamentals. And so we try to coach that as much as we can every day, teach every day, work every day. You can't cheat the process. You got to put the time in. There's no way around that. But again, like you said, some fighters, they like to watch a lot of film. Some fighters don't like to watch a lot of film because they like to be more creative in the ring, right? So if you over-process sometimes preparing for a fight with some guys, and everybody's different, then what starts to, you know, you're starting to become robotic. You're starting to predetermine what you're going to do. Now, it may work for some people, but for some people, that's where I'm saying boxing is so much like the arts. Yeah. You have to have a creative side. So in order to be creative, you have to be spontaneous. So when you get in the ring and you watch too much film, you can cheat the process in that. So you want to be creative. You want to be able to get on angles and do these different things, and be a visionary. Yeah. You know. So, and you can only get those things by putting in the time and reaction and doing these types of things. So you're right about that. You got to be careful with watching too much film, and every fighter definitely is different, just like every artist is different.
So you kind of leave it up to them on that part, or how they want to.
I like guys to see a little bit of film. Yeah. If I feel it's the type of person that is more on the creative side, I'd rather not watch too much film. If I feel that the guy is not as much on the creative side, then we really need to break down film. We really need to be prepared in that aspect. So every individual is different.
I see. That's interesting. And then have you ever gotten to the point where you just like had to fire someone, or you're just like, okay, I'm sure that has happened, where they're just not putting in the effort. They're not putting in the work. They're not eating breakfast. Wink, wink.
Wow. There's a lot of things we find out on these podcasts, right?
Just one day.
We're just laughing because we had to do a mic check, and the question for Albert was, what did you have for breakfast? And he said, I didn't eat breakfast this morning.
Right in front of his coach. Funny. Right in front of his coach. I mean, you know, I don't want to say lie, but maybe just skip my mind today.
Yeah, I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but I mean, we're human. You know, at the end of the day, we are human. So things happen, right? But you just get right back on track.
Sure, but you know, at the end of the day, we're in professional sports, and it's the what have you done for me lately, and you have to produce. Yeah. And he knows that. My son knows that, and anybody that's ever been around me. And so, you know, thank the good Lord Jesus Christ, I've been fortunate to have many, many world champions and be featured in HBO, Showtime, ESPN, Fox, a lot of big opportunities. And that being said, though, if you can't cheat the process, you can't cheat the work. And for me, I'm not going to say names, but there has been guys where, you know, I see, hey, you're cheating the process, you're not putting the work in, and I'm not going to associate my name alongside with that. So, you know, the best thing is, hey, I wish you the best. I'm here for you. If you want to change, you want to go in a different direction, we're here for you. But it might be best you go a different direction, because at the end of the day, it's my butt on the line. Just like it's theirs. And if you don't produce, it's a what have you done for me lately? You know, this year I'm trainer of the year, and then next year, you know, it just, you know, we all seen what happened with the Raiders coach just recently. I mean, you could be fired in 2 seconds in this sport. So
your reputation matters.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So and to me, that's much more important than finances, because again, going back to, like you saying, you and your mom, big believers in the arts and things of that nature. When you put passion and you put the quality in, great things usually are going to happen. When
Yeah.
you chase money and you chase those types of things, you're usually headed for a huge failure or fall because you don't have the passion, you don't have the determination, and so you won't sustain. You may get there,
Yeah.
but you won't stay there.
That's so interesting you're saying that, because as you were talking, I was thinking about my podcasting. And the way I started it was just passion. I just love people. I love to learn new things and tell people stories and talk to people about their stories. And yeah, that's the way I started off, is passion. And so I get it. Yeah.
And that's what, me and Joey's cousin, he fought in the 1956 Olympics, Louis Molina. So we've been in the sport a long time. But when I got into the sport, I didn't get into the sport with like, hey, I want to be on TV.
Yeah.
I want to do. No, I just loved the sport. I loved what was going on behind the scenes, the camaraderie with the guys, working every day, being in the gym. Sure, that we got to pay our bills and things of that nature. So there's times as human beings, you're like, man, I'm not making anything. What's going on here? But over time, this will lead you to this.
Right.
And hard work will always get you there. Hard work always pays. So for all you young people out there, hard work always pays. And if you put in the determination and the hard work, and that's what I tell all my fighters. And I've seen guys coming into the sport with nothing. A lot of third world country guys from the Dominican, from Cuba, become multimillionaires. But it's always the same thing. It's the process. You have to work hard. And the guys that try to cheat the process, they fail.
It's not good. Yeah. Actually, often you hear that people who get into boxing have challenging backgrounds. They might be from the inner streets. And is that very common with boxing? And do you think that there's a reason for that? They're used to survival,
I think you find that a lot in a lot of sports, right? Because very rarely, whether it's baseball, whether it's soccer, whether it's basketball, football, mainly you find that with families that are a little bit more deprived than others. And so they usually push sports because they see, hey, my kid may have an opportunity to get a scholarship, to go to school. This may be the only way they can go to school. And obviously, if they can go to that next level, it can change the fortunes of families. And I've seen it. And I think that's what a lot of it is. And then obviously, when you have sports, you have competitiveness, people that are just competitive, and they may just get into sports and one thing leads to another. And basketball or boxing and things of that nature, it doesn't take much to have a ball in a hoop, or you could put up a thing and you could work by yourself. So it's not like when you play hockey or golf, you predominantly, you have to have a family that has resources and things of that nature. And I think that's where the dynamic comes, where you may have more inner city people or from third world countries, and that's why they gravitate to the sports that they do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You said you moved here to Vegas. Where did you move from?
I'm from Sacramento, California, the capital of Cali.
Okay, not too far.
Yeah, not too far, like an hour flight.
You can go back and forth, see your family. How does your mother feel, you being in boxing?
At first, just like everyone, at first they didn't really know what I was doing, that's normal. I'm doing something that's totally random and opposite of from what I'm used to.
Right.
From going from basketball to now boxing.
Albert, don't forget the fact she did threaten to kill me if I continue to train you. That's a little joke there, but my poor son, what are you doing to him? My good-looking son, oh my God.
He's pretty.
Thank you. I just, a lot of people didn't believe in me, even before, the Kylie Jenner and that show, a lot of people didn't believe in me. People still don't believe in me. But the only one that believed in me was myself, that's what you got to do in anything, with any job, with anything. If you don't believe in yourself, you can't really expect to go far. But I saw a vision. I think I could do something in this sport. I felt like a lot of people will, start tuning in the more you put in the work, and, you can't cheat yourself, like Bob said. And I don't believe I have cheated myself. I think I'm just still learning. I'm still accepting my flaws. I'm still accepting the good things that I'm doing, the bad things, because I'm learning. Yeah. This has been very different. So
you're out here by yourself? Like, you're out here just for boxing?
So, I moved here for, for this sport, everyone, most 99% of my family is in Sacramento or in California. I'm not in a relationship, so right now it's just me focusing on this sport and just trying to excel and be successful. And I really believe I can. I believe Bob thinks so. I can too. So
Yeah, sounds like you have a really good trainer. So that's great.
yeah. So for me,
Well, I like to hear that. Let's hear that. Great.
I agree.
Unbelievable.
that, huh?
I
Wonderful.
agree to that.
So that kind of leads me to my next question. So I was watching some of your videos and I was cracking up because
Okay, let's
I'm
hear.
44 and
you look younger.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. But in my I'm single, so like dating, especially in Vegas, is like ridiculous. I did 2 episodes on dating for my podcast, and I showed my mom Tinder actually on the pod. She didn't know anything about it. I had her swiping. She swiped right by accident. I was like, it was so funny. We had a psychologist on the show because dating is hard, in your 40s. So I heard you saying in a video you were struggling. You're 23 years old. I'm like, how are 20-year-olds struggling with dating? And are you guys on apps? Like,
I mean, I'm not on any dating app.
okay.
Never been. I don't plan on that. For me, I just feel like I'm very old school. I believe in true love. I believe, I'm a one. I like to be with one person. Build something with someone. Have a family eventually. I just always felt like that. I felt like if I just give my energy and myself and my body to all these women, which a lot of people do, which, I don't judge, but for me, that's just not me. For me, I want to find one person I can grow with and, she could look up to me and, I can be with her, give her the world and, just keep growing. That's how you see these successful families and these kids, like with great upbringings because you put together a goal and a foundation and then, it leads to that. Majority of the time.
Where is this coming from? So. Like, I've never heard a 23-year-old talk like that. I'm going to be totally honest. I mean, it's
maybe I'm his role model because I've been with Joey's mom for about 30 years now.
Oh, that's
27
great.
Years, so maybe I've rubbed off on
I love to hear that. So tell me, what's your secret?
Now, what's the secret?
I always try to just, I look at it like a triangle in the sense that me and my wife try to put God first and then he's at the point, and then me and my wife right there. And then obviously there's things she brings to the table that I don't, things that I bring to the table that she doesn't, and we can appreciate each other's differences and support each other. And so been very blessed in that area. So I'm glad I'm rubbing off on you.
I love hearing that.
I just think the world is pushing, like this dating, the whole hookup culture is not me, and that's what the world is pushing in the music, the movies, the artists, athletes, that's how it is now. You know? And for me, I'm not with this era, So
you're definitely from a different universe.
I just felt like I was different, and I was one of one, which is why my brand and LLC is one of one, because I am different. I always felt like that.
I was going to ask you about that because I saw it on your profile. Is it clothing? What is it?
It's just my brand in general. But we do have like these graphic tees just came out last Saturday.
And don't forget your birthday.
Yeah, and then my birthday is actually New Year's. He was the one that was like, your birthday is 1/1. I'm like, yeah. So my birthday's New Year's. I'm a New Year's baby. And then one of one. I just feel like a lot of people can relate to it.
It was 2000, right?
Yeah.
More than 2000.
That's crazy.
I mean, think
hear
about
that.
it,
Yeah. So I just, always felt like, I was one of one. And then now, a lot of people are liking it.
Yeah.
I was at the boxing gym right now. They're like, hey, 101. I really like that name.
Yeah, it is pretty. It's catchy.
Well, I think people are craving authenticity now because the reality of it is when you're talking about dating, it's unbelievable. You go to dinner with somebody and they're on their phone, right? And they're on their phone, and
It's true.
And they're having a conversation with somebody else, and then they'll be with that person, and then they'll be texting you.
Yeah, it's awful.
You know what I mean? Instead of just like enjoy the company that you have at the time, but they got people so processed to thinking, they got to do multitasking. They're eating dinner, they're talking to this person, they're texting this person, but they're more interested in the text messaging than the person they're having dinner with. And like I said, and then you flip it, and then all of a sudden they're texting the other person and more
Who's
interested in that.
doing the same thing.
Yeah, no, literally.
Yeah, I really appreciate people who can be present in the now, be present in the moment. I am obviously in podcasting. I'm filming stuff all the time, but when I'm out with someone, I really want to pay attention to that person. I value that so much because it's a moment that you're going to miss.
A connection,
Yeah. I had a job before that. I remember I had to leave the table at my mom at the table because I would have clients calling me and I had to answer it. and it would be on a weekend, and that made me feel awful. I was like, what is this? I can't even on
Have
a
dinner?
Sunday go have brunch.
On Sunday.
Oh,
Wow.
I had people texting me, calling
Wow.
me.
Job never like
It just they never
nights,
stopped.
Day,
Wow.
Yeah.
midnight, weekends. I couldn't go anywhere with her.
Yeah.
She was constantly leaving to go to answer the phone.
Awful. I thought of that
She
when
left
you were.
that
When you
job,
said
I'm so
Sunday,
happy.
that takes it to
Oh,
the next
Saturday,
level.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Well, I'm not working there
I
anymore.
even give him Sunday off.
Yeah.
No ups with
Yeah.
this job.
Those are sacred days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with that. We're living in a different world, so
It is.
it's really important to think the way that you're thinking and be more grounded. Yeah, so
That's
yeah.
what that again, getting back to the arts or getting
Yeah.
back to the sport itself with boxing. That's why it's so enjoyable to get into a gym with the camaraderie that you have with my son
Yeah.
and with him, and we're training, we have a goal, and we're
Yeah.
you're present. You're in the gym and you're present. There's no social media
Yeah.
at that time. The phone's put away. You're focusing and living in the moment. And that's why I try to tell him and try to tell a lot of young people, don't get on the roller coaster. Don't let the highs get too high. Don't let the lows get too low. And enjoy the process. Enjoy the journey. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times, even what happened with me, is sometimes, with my first world champion, you're so caught up in get world championship, and be all and end all. And then you get there and you fight a Floyd Mayweather and you get there and the money's there and these types of things. Then you realize, it isn't the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's the process. It's being present. It's enjoying every day and every minute. And so that's what I love about being in the gym, working on the ballet, working on the
Yeah.
footsteps, working on the angles, working on those types of things. That's what's great about the sport of boxing.
I do love that. I love the journey. You always have to remember what got you to where you are, because in the middle of it, you're like, oh, you don't know what's going to happen sometimes. But
Yeah.
then when you look back, you're like, I wish I just enjoyed that moment for a moment instead of complaining about it or worrying. I do have a question. Have you ever trained any women boxers?
Wow, I don't know if I want to say that. I might get in trouble there.
Why? It's okay if you haven't. I'm not here to chew you out.
No, it was presented me with an opportunity. It just didn't play out that way, and so it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
So they were talking about. Matter of fact, it was the head of the WBA, which is one of the organizations that sanctions the world championship fights, and he says, "Hey, I got this tremendous female, and I want you to meet her. She's going to come out to the Caribe Royale." And I think Jake Paul was out there, and they were going to be doing one of the fights out there. And I said, sure. And I says, I'll train her on one condition. My wife's got to be a part of it, though. My wife's going to be a part of the training. So if that works out, that's fine. And my wife has actually helped me out in one of my corners one time. So that was the bucket list for her. I says, come on, baby, you're going to work the corner with me.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but did you say that because she wanted it? And she's always dreamed of doing that? Or was there listen, if there's a woman that I'm training, my wife, it's like a deal breaker type of thing. You know what I mean? Not to cause any.
Well, no, my wife's not jealous. She's
But out of respect for her is what I mean.
And my wife would have loved that too because she
Yeah.
loves the sport of boxing. And she's been, obviously Jesus Christ, but my wife has been a huge backbone for us as a family to get to where we've gotten, because a lot of times people don't see that behind the scenes.
Yeah.
She sacrificed when I had to go to camps for months at a time, or it was in Africa, whether it was in France, and I've been all over the world. She had to stay back with the kids. And as much as she could, she'd always be in the gym. She'd always be supporting, actually taking my kids to their amateur fights and taking them to the gym because they got into boxing too. And so, but I thought it would have been great with me and my wife working with her every day. I think it would just, because she could connect in a way that I can't. Because one thing is, you could teach the X's and O's, and we could teach the pivoting, and we could teach this. But I still think there's something that a woman's going to be able to bring to the table that I couldn't bring to the table psychologically.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
if I
like
did that, that's
that.
why I'd want to have her with me. You know what I mean? Not just for the fact of, because it's a woman. No, I like to win. Whether I'm coaching women, whether I'm coaching men, or I like to win. So I think she'd been a huge part of us being successful if it happened.
Yeah.
So I'm open to it. Maybe
have-
down the line.
Oh, okay. So you haven't done it yet.
No,
Yeah.
like I said, they presented
They
me
did
the
it-
opportunity, and I says okay, but for
Yeah.
whatever reason, it didn't pan out. Maybe she didn't want to leave, South America and train.
Oh.
So
Okay, so maybe we need to make an announcement that
let's go, let's go.
Yeah.
any female potential boxers out there.
Think
Yeah.
about this now too.
Uh-huh.
Amanda Serrano, the first woman. We were just at that fight, huh, Joe, in Caribe Royale, and she was the first woman ever to do 3-minute rounds. Right, set the record with that, and she's a multi-million-dollar fighter. So for all
Wow.
you young ladies out there, boxing might be the way to go for you. It's very lucrative now, and the opportunity for women is unbelievable. What they
Really?
brought to the table with boxing and more eyes and viewerships, and what Amanda Serrano's done with Jake Paul, it's been tremendous.
So what would you say? I'm just curious, like, is there an age range for a woman to just all of a sudden say, I want to be a boxer? Or like, do they have to have some kind of a background athletically? I mean, there has to be somebody that you would say, absolutely not. No. You know what I mean? Like,
My wife, absolutely not. No, outside of my wife, right? I think as long as you're within the physically, and you don't want to say an age too much because you have a guy like George Foreman who won the heavyweight championship of the world at 44.
Yeah.
But if you're physically capable of still being able to compete athletically with your physical, attributes, then I wouldn't put a limitation on anybody because records are always made to be broken. And you see people at older ages accomplishing different and better things. You know, it's funny, back in the day when Muhammad Ali and them were fighting, in your 20s, once a heavyweight started getting around the mid-30s, oh, he's done, he's over the table.
Yeah.
Now you realize that these guys in their 30s are just kind of getting started. You have a lot of heavyweights in their 40s. So I wouldn't want to put a limitation on anybody because every individual is different.
so Albert, I'm wondering like what your actual goals are with this whole boxing thing. You know, what is your long-term goal?
A lot of people actually ask me that. For me, I'm just having fun, enjoying this process, one fight at a time. I tell everyone I want to stop at 30, but knowing me, I'm probably going to want to just keep going until I can't stop, unless something else can open up too that will help me, I think, financially. But, this sport, I'm having fun. I fell in love with it. I moved out here, I left my family for this sport,
Yeah.
So I think just keep fighting, and I see the potential in it to set me up and set my future family up and my kids, So I think that's what motivates me because I see it. I mean, my team sees it too. We can get, especially with social media now, we can get to our destination a lot faster, with the right work ethic, obviously. But we can get to a lot of big things pretty quick.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, I want to know how heavy that is, that necklace.
Oh, I honestly don't know, but it's Gold USA. They've been a big believer in me, in California.
Yeah.
So all my jewelry I get there for a really good deal. And
Yeah, look, it's really nice.
Thank you.
You like his necklace, Mom? Did you see it?
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, it's cool.
I know you said my kids. First find a wife,
Well, yeah.
get married, then the kids.
Yeah, no, for sure.
follow.
But
Process, just like
Process,
boxing.
yeah.
Process.
But no, it's just really hard,
Don't cheat the process.
Yeah.
You can get yourself into trouble.
Yeah. But my future family and obviously future
Yes.
wife, when that comes and when it happens, I don't know when. It might be
Yeah.
forever. I don't know. But so we're just having fun and enjoying it, and as long as I keep listening, I think, and I know I will be very successful in this sport.
I have absolutely no doubt that you're going to be successful. I
Thank
don't. What's coming up? Any fights or anything like
so we've
that?
been in camp for, I think, 5 weeks now. And
Yeah.
then before that, we had a pre-camp for about 3 weeks to a month. So we have a fight December 8th in Miami. It's going
Okay.
to be on Fight TV. It's going to be a 4-round fight. And, I'm just very excited for this fight. I've improved a lot. We're working on a lot of good things. And, this is the best shape I've ever been in. And I'm not even
You
done with
better
this.
say that. You're right next to me.
Yeah, no, but it is. I've lost,
Anything less than saying that, man, we're gonna have some serious problems.
Yeah.
Me and you might have to go at it right now.
Yeah, no, but I'm in great shape right now, and I still have a lot more, a few weeks to go to just keep improving and get in better shape. So,
Yeah.
I'm very confident. We're gonna win, and from there, just on to the next.
Yeah, because this is going to be your fourth fight, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
right now, this fight is, my main focus is just December 8th.
Okay.
And I'm very excited, and we've improved a lot. Now we just gotta just
Yeah.
prove everyone wrong again on December 8th, and
Well, we will see, and I'm sure you will prove everybody wrong.
Thank you.
We're going to talk to your son, who's a manager. So we'll be back in a minute to do that.
Let's go.
I want to know how you became an official manager. Like, how does this even work? I don't know. I know your dad is Bob, and was it something you just knew when he was a kid? Like, this is what he's going to do, or did he come up with the idea? How did it happen?
Well, obviously he was interested in the sport, right? Because his father's in the sport. His cousin fought in the Olympics, and a lot of family members. So he was interested in sport. No two ways about that. And he got to watch Robert Guerrero, one of the greatest fighters ever, 6-time world champion, fought Floyd Mayweather, and so he had a relationship with him. And he was always very astute. He played a lot of the sports and things of that nature. But I always realized early on, I thought, he's going to be using it. He's going to be using it upstairs. He was very quick-witted as a kid, and so he gravitated towards that. Wanted to go into management, and the opportunity came with Albert because he actually brought Albert to my attention.
Oh, yes.
And so it just at the right timing, everything just came together and culminated. And here he is, one of the youngest managers in the sport. I think the youngest manager in professional boxing with Albert. And so I'm thankful that he brought him to my attention, and we've all collaborated and came together.
Yeah.
So is this the first person that you're managing, Albert? Okay.
This is my first managed fighter, yeah. I'm very blessed to have my father as my father. He's taught me the ropes of boxing, the business side of it, the training side of it, So I've definitely been very, very blessed to have him as my father, showing me the ropes and showing me, the right way to do things.
Yeah, right by your side. I mean, you can ask him any question you want. You can. I mean, it's been basically your life if that's what he's been doing. So.
Exactly. I grew up into it.
Yeah.
I had a couple amateur fights when I started off. Been with my dad, a lot of camps with my dad, so.
Yeah, was that hard seeing him in a fight? I mean, what does that feel like as a dad?
You know what's interesting about that is when he had his first amateur fight, we were out there in San Francisco. And so for me, I'm used to it obviously, but it was kind of a little bit like, hey man, that's my son, and everything. And my wife was like, Joseph, get on him! Attack!
Oh, she was the main one I heard from the crowd. That was the
And I
could hear
says,
her over
wow.
my coach and everybody.
Yeah, come on! I says, wow.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Wow.
We should have your wife on the show.
Oh, she'd be great.
But now we're gonna have to bring her on for
We
sure.
should do a part 2.
We can. Oh, that's so funny. So you thought it would have been, I would have thought actually it would have been the other way
the
around.
opposite. Yeah, but it was the opposite, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. No, I love the fact that you have your whole family involved in it, and everyone is so supportive and has a love for it, and that's so important to me. I just,
Yeah, the family that
support.
works together stays together, right?
Yeah, it's
Plays
true.
together, stays together. So the whole
And
camaraderie
boxing
of that.
is a family business. It's
Yeah.
been that way for a long time. But you see a lot of conflicts with the families, and they start butting heads. And I've been very thankful that I've had my father and my mother to work with, and it's been smooth sailing thus far, and sky's the limit.
Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have 2,
Oh, okay. Are they older, younger?
both older.
Oh, okay. So they didn't get involved in it, or they did?
My older son, the oldest, he did a little bit of boxing, but he wanted to go to college and kind of do his own thing. And my other son, he was involved in boxing too, and in basketball and things of that nature. And then he got a scholarship in basketball, and he was kind of going that direction. Then he came and he worked with us for a little bit, but at this point, I don't think the passion wasn't there. And if you're not passionate about it in anything,
Right.
you're not going to be successful. You're not going to last long. You may like it
Yeah.
to a degree, but if you don't have that true passion, and maybe that'll come along a little bit later, I don't know. But at this point, I don't think he's as passionate about as me and his brother here, Joseph. So without that, and you know, like your podcaster, you got to be passionate about it.
You
come
have
in
to
every
be, yeah.
day.
But just to show the athletic capabilities of the
Yeah.
Santos family, my brother was he was one of 9, I believe, one of
6
9.
foot and under to get a
Under
basketball
6 foot
scholarship.
to get yeah. So
Where was this? Where did he get a
He
scholarship?
went. He went to Valley Christian High School in San Jose, and then he got a scholarship to Cal State East Bay, and so
yeah,
he was out
multiple
there for
scholarships, so,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Okay, so what have you learned from your dad? For like what is like, I don't know, the thing that stands out the most about what you've learned being a manager?
Man, he's taught me
Too
a
many
lot.
things.
It's gonna be hard to pinpoint one, but I would say his composure in everything he does, his composure in meetings, his composure in interviews, his composure in the press conferences, the fight. He's always very composed, and I think that's one big thing that I've taken away from him is just staying composed no matter what.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, try my best, you know.
What do you think sets you apart as a manager? Besides the fact that your dad is Bob.
Well, like my dad
Individual-
says too, I kind of like to. One of my idols in boxing is Louis DeCubas Jr. He got started off at an extremely young age, and
from his father.
From his
Oh,
father
wow,
as well.
okay.
His father was the manager for Roberto Duran. He was with Mike Tyson and,
Oh,
and
wow.
those guys. So
So another father-son duo. He's
Yeah.
always been somebody I looked up to, and he's also helped me out a lot doing what I'm doing. So I kind of see myself as walking in his footsteps a little bit. He's done amazing in the sport. He's one of the biggest names in boxing, and I feel like if I kind of just keep progressing at the rate I am, I'll be there pretty soon.
Okay, I think you will too. I think you have first of all, you've chosen someone that's great. How did you guys meet? I mean, how did you find him?
I think
I
lot
think it was through social media,
Social
no?
media.
Yeah.
I know. So my first trainer and great uncle Tony the Tiger, he kind of. I mean, we as things were progressing, I just came across, and then
We had a lot of mutual friends, I think.
Oh, yeah, a lot of
and
mutual
Followed
friends.
each other on
yeah,
Instagram.
and then from
Yeah.
He had
there,
reached out, told me he was coming to Las Vegas for his training camp. So I said, I'll come check you out.
and then just from there, it was like
It's
a
in the
friendship.
bloodlines. Tony
So-
the Tiger, 3-time world champion. Your cousin.
Yeah.
You know, give him his
So-
props.
So yeah,
yeah.
that's so true. That's crazy. You do. It's like you have a knack for it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I grew up in basketball. You
Yeah.
know, I was very. That's what I wanted. That was
I
my
keep-
passion, and
I keep
you know.
hearing basketball and boxing. I feel
Yeah.
like there's some kind of commonality. Is
But
it the
you-
footwork?
You know what? Bingo.
Yeah, it's the footwork. Okay.
so I
That's
think, yeah.
exactly what it is, because in basketball, if you're a guy that likes contact, it's an easy transition. Again, ballet. Basketball is like ballet too.
That's what I learned today.
Basketball is a lot like ballet too.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the things that those guys do on the court with the footwork,
Yeah.
and it is. It's like a dance. It's like a flow. You know, this guy
Right.
goes this way, you go this way. He's going here. I'm up on the toes. I'm down. I'm up. I'm over here. And so, and then if you now transitioning to fighting, if you're a guy that likes contact to a degree, you're probably going to be successful. Because Deontay Wilder, one of the great heavyweights there is, knockout artist, second to none, heavyweight champ of the world. What was he? A former basketball player.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. Okay.
And I grew up in that sport since I think I was like 7. You know, that's why. And then I didn't stop till I think I was 19, right after high school, because that's what I wanted to do. I thought I was going to go to college for that, and now we're changing a little direction into professional boxing, and it's a good start, and we're only getting started, and for the progression and my learning capabilities and learning and understanding and comprehending from these two next to me, it's picking up really fast.
That's great. I really love the energy between all of you. I feel it's like I feel like you guys are family. Like that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I mean that genuinely
Thank
from
you.
my heart.
Well, you're hitting the head on the nail. That's for sure,
Yeah.
because that's the truth.
That's all. I mean, you guys are family, but you know what I mean. Like
Sure.
with Albert sitting there, it's like you've just like kind of embraced him and brought him into your world. So that's a beautiful thing. You originally from here?
California.
Okay, so how long have you been
But
in Vegas?
I've done so many camps here.
Okay.
I've been in, professional prize fighting for about 31 years.
Oh, okay.
So
you
even
know.
when I was living in California, and just moved here about 3 years ago full time. Most of the camps we would do would be in Vegas anyway. So, and if you're going to do a training camp, and I've done training camps in Africa, I've done training camps in France,
Wow.
I've done training camps in South America, all over the world. For me, in particular, this is a great place to get a fighter ready for fights because one, obviously, you have a lot of fighters here, so you can have a sparring. Iron sharpens iron. I'm a big believer in the Bible. The other thing is, you can run in elevation, which is going to help with your energy, the air, your heart rate. So you can go run at Mount Charleston, right? Get a great run in the elevation, come back down, right? And so that's
Sounds
the great
intense.
thing here. And a lot of the big fights are here in Vegas. So then you can get acclimated. You're already here.
True.
Because people don't realize, even in the casinos, you're still at about 20. I don't know exactly what it is, but about 2,300. Elevation. And so if you're coming from California and those places, it can play a role in a 12-round fight. So if you're already here, you're acclimated, then you're getting the runs up in elevation. It just all culminates together. And, whether it was Robert Guerrero or Erislandy Lara, some of the top prize fighters that I've worked with, they want to come out. Obviously, they want to come out and get ready here in Vegas. So you'd be out here for 2-3 months anyway. So I told my wife, I said, it's probably just best at this point, now that the kids are out of high school, that we relocate here and just be here together full time and work on this together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so it's great.
And the entertainment too is
Yeah.
bigger than any state, I think.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
The entertainment here is bigger than
It's growing.
Why?
Vegas is definitely the boxing hotspot.
Yeah.
It's the fight capital of the world.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you were all on my podcast. I felt like this podcast was meant to be. So thank you so
good
much.
people.
Well, all of
Sure,
us
good
are real
people.
big on authenticity too.
Yeah.
We could tell that you're a very authentic
Aw.
person. So
Yeah, you have your mom. I love that. Here.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
good people.
Yeah. I think it's important to be yourself. Like, I definitely wouldn't want to have someone meet me and then they see a different personality like that's outside of my
Oh,
podcast.
there's a lot of those in
I know
Hollywood.
Yeah, there is.
I know there is, and
And I've trained around a lot of them too. When we used to do a lot of camps out there in Hollywood. We were
I'm
out
not.
there with Matthew McConaughey and all those people out there.
yeah, no, you get what you see. I'm just who I am.
And that's one
it.
thing I'd always
Yeah.
recommend for the youth and just anyone. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
I've always been myself, and you can go far ways being yourself. You know.
Yeah,
so.
it's important. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I know you guys got to go and train again.
Yeah, they gotta train me right now.
Let's go, baby.
You don't got time. You got to go work. So,
Yeah.
all right. You guys have a wonderful day. And thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you for
And
having
that
us.
wraps us up. Thank you for watching the Maral Vegas show, for listening. And until the next one.